And we're joined by Randy Lucky, the Caddo Parish Commission. Good morning to you, sir. How are things today?
Everything's wonderful. How are y'all today?
Big week. The election is Saturday for the proposition of the tax renewals. We get an email from the Caddo Parish Republican Executive Committee urging folks to vote no, saying Caddo Parish already has enough money. Your response to their email today?
Are you going to vote no also?
No, sir, I will not be. But I'm not telling anybody how to vote, yes or no. We don't do that here. But I can give you the facts, and all I can tell you is these are just renewals. These are no new taxes. Our tax millage rate for the Caddo Parish in 2016 was 28.60, and for 2017 it'll be the exact same 28.60. These are for day-to-day operations, for our parks and recreation, for our public health, for juvenile court and juvenile detention, for courthouse and all of our other parish buildings, and then we have a sales tax rededication to try to put some money to take care of some draining and flooding issues that we've had over the past couple of years.
And in your mind, if these taxes, one or all, were eliminated, then we would, to use John Bell's term, applying to a little more local situation, would we have a fiscal cliff?
I would never call it a fiscal cliff by any means, but let me just say Caddo Parish's our finances depend upon these renewals just for day-to-day operations of, like I said, with the courthouse, just not only the courthouse grounds, but the maintenance on the inside the buildings, for them to have court there, for the sheriff's department, for the district attorney, for the district judges. And our parks and recreation, that's just strictly for day-to-day. All of these are strictly for day-to-day operations. None of these are for, or they're not any new taxes by any means whatsoever. Not even 0.1% are they, of 1 cent are they new taxes on anything. This is all the same as it was last year.
Randy, is it accurate that Caddo has more than $120 million in reserves? Why don't we roll the taxes back on citizens and dip into that? I mean, that's a huge amount of cash on hand.
Yes, ma'am. Let me say we do have reserves, but all of those reserves are they were voted on by the citizens, and that money can't be used for but except what they were voted on for. Now, I will say this: I've been here at the parish since 1998, and every 4 years we have a chance to either roll forward or roll back. And since 1998, we have always rolled our property taxes backwards. We have not rolled them forward. So since 1998, I know that we've been rolling back every 4 years here in Caddo.
Excuse me, Mr. Randy, but you mentioned that $120 million that's in the coffers is designated or allocated funds. But if you're sitting on it and it's not doing anything, what's it allocated for that we're not using it for?
I'm sorry, these are dedicated or allocated funds for whatever the voters voted on. Some of those fund balances that are there when they were voted on by the people, they can't be moved over to other different departments. They have to be used in that particular department which they were voted for.
Yes, but my point is you're sitting on it. It's not doing anything right now. What will it be used for eventually, if ever?
We use them every single year. And let me just say, if for whatever reason these renewals didn't pass this year, we would end up having to go into those fund balances and use those fund balances to continue to keep things operating and rolling. And we could do that for maybe a year or maybe close to 2 years, but after that we start running into some major problems where you end up messing with services at that point.
Let me ask you this, Randy. There are some who also accuse parish leaders, and I'm not saying you in particular, of putting this on an obscure April 29th ballot when you're going to have low turnout. Your response to that?
We aren't doing anything different this year than we've done since I've been here, or since even before that. What this is we always go out for a tax renewal about 1 year in advance before that renewal becomes before it ends.
But some of these don't expire until 2021. Is that accurate?
That is, but if you'll just let me finish here, okay?
Okay.
The Parks and Rec renewal is retired in next year, so that's why that one's on this year. Well, then when we end up doing that, we end up looking at what other renewals do we have coming up within a 4-year period, and that was public health, juvenile court and detention, and the courthouse maintenance on our buildings. And we do that to try to consolidate these elections. And that doesn't mean we start collecting early on these elections. What that means is that we're just trying to, instead of having an election next year and then having an election the next year and then two the next year, you get kind of voter fatigue when you start doing those kinds of things. And so,
So you put them all together.
So we put them together, and that way, let's see, the Parks and Rec retires in 2018. Public Health retires in 2020. Juvenile Court and Detention and Courthouse Maintenance retire in 2021. So those elections would have been in 2020 and 2019. And so instead of doing all those elections, having 3 additional elections, we figure we're saving about $400,000 to the taxpayer by not calling those elections. And, you know, when people go back to the polls and continue to vote on tax renewals, a lot of folks get voter fatigue on those kind of things, like, what the heck's going on? Mm-hmm. Bottom line is, these are no renewals from 2016 to 2017, and this is just something that we have for our day-to-day operations.